September 21, our republic will once again hear the voices of its citizens, raised in defiance of destruction. Fix the Country and Democracy Hub, a civic movement that have refused to surrender their conscience to fear, will take to the streets in protest. Their demand is simple, urgent and existential. Stop Galamsey and the illegal mining scourge that is poisoning our rivers, killing our lands, and threatening the very future of this country. They will march not for politics, not for partisanship, but for life itself, for the right of every Ghanaian child to drink clean water, to inherit fertile soil, and to live in a Ghana that is not reduced to dust and poison by the greed of a few. Fellow Ghanaians, we cannot pretend this is business as usual. Galamsey is not just another governance failure. It is a death sentence we are signing with our silence. Look at our rivers, the Bream, the Pra, the Ankobra, your Fin. They once simmered with life, flowing clear, feeding farms, sustaining communities. Today they are brown, lifeless, poisonous, mercury and cyanide flow where fish swam. Entire ecosystems have collapsed. Farmers are losing cocoa lands to devastation, and children are falling sick from drinking poisoned water. And the Ghana Water Company Limited is now overwhelmed by the cost of treating filth instead of water. They are passing the cost on to citizens. They are demanding tariff hikes over 200%. So we need to ask, why should ordinary people already crushed by inflation and joblessness have to pay more because politicians and their financiers refuse to fight Galamsey? Why should the powerless pay for the greed of the powerful? The upcoming protest is not the first of its kind. In recent years, they've happened, and similar marches have been organized. Citizens, many of them young, poured onto the streets to demand action against Galamsey, corruption and misrule. But how were they treated? With cruelty. Dozens were arrested, bundled into police vans like common criminals. Some were held for days without access to their lawyers or family. They simply disappeared into police cells. That was a stain on our democratic promise. Others were dragged before courts and shamefully remanded for 2 weeks, punished for nothing more than exercising a constitutional right to protest. That episode remains a blight on our democracy, a warning of how fragile our freedoms can be when those in power mistake security in the forces for party militias. This time we expect better. The current government, under the President, John Dramani Mahama, has so far shown tolerance for protest, at least for now. It has not descended into the reflexive repression that scarred the last administration. But tolerance is not generosity, it is an obligation. The right to protest is not a favor granted by the state. It is a constitutional guarantee. And so we must make it clear, if on September 21, citizens are harassed, arrested, or brutalized, it will not be a blow against activists alone. It will be a betrayal of the republic itself. But fellow Ghanaians, beyond expecting tolerance, we must also expect ourselves. This protest cannot be the burden of a few brave young people. It cannot be left to Oliver Bakavoma or another activist alone. It must be all of us, because Galamsey is killing all of us. It is not just the rivers that are being destroyed in some faraway region. It is raising your water bills right here in Accra. It is poisoning your food in Kumasi, and it's endangering your children in Takrade. It is threatening your livelihood in Tamale. And if you continue on this path, Ghana will not just be poorer for it, it will be uninhabitable. That is why September 21 must be a turning point. All of us citizens must pour out in our numbers, not just to march, but to demand loudly, clearly, and unapologetically that the government must act, that it repeals LI 2462, that shameful law that allows mining in forest reserves, that it prosecutes not just the poor boys with shovels, but the financiers, the politicians, the business people who are bankrolling the entirety of the destruction. That is what stop, and it must also stop using these community mining schemes as smokescreens for Galamsey, that it empowers security agencies to act without fear or favor and punish those who collude with criminals instead of arresting them. And we have to say, this protest is not anti-government, it is pro-Ghana. It is not about partisanship, it is about patriotism. When the NPP was in power, the NDC shouted from the rooftops demanding action against Galamsey. Today the NDC is in power, the same standard must apply. If the government fails, it must be held accountable, not excused because of political callous. We cannot allow Galamsey to become another football in the endless game of NPP versus NDC. The rivers do not care about partisan colors. The soil does not care about slogans. And the poison in our water will not stop to ask for your voter ID and the party you belong before it kills you. And fellow Ghanaians, allow me now to pause and pay tribute to one man whose courage has kept this flame alive, Oliver Barker-Vormawor. In many ways, he has become the most recognized face of Fix the Country and Democracy Hub. His story is one of resilience in the face of repression. He has spent months in police cells. He has been held arbitrarily under dubious charges. His education has been interrupted, and his life has been threatened. He's been insulted, vilified, mocked, even by those who stand to benefit from his personal sacrifices. Yet he has never lost faith. He has never wavered. He has continued to speak, to march in a country where silence is safer. He has chosen noise in a nation where conformity is rewarded. And he has chosen resistance. And so, as we all follow him in leading this other protest, we must reflect on the legacy he's already building. History may not always be kind to those who challenge power, but it's always honest. And when history writes the story of this generation, may it be said that Oliver Barker-Vormawor stood tall, that he gave voice to a frustrated youth, that he forced the nation to confront its hypocrisies, that he never gave up on the possibility of a better Ghana, even when Ghana seemed to have given up on him. Fellow Ghanaians, the stakes could not be higher. Galamsey is not just an environmental issue, it is an existential crisis. And if we fail to act, we will drink poison, eat poison, and eventually perish in poison. This is the destiny we must resist with every fiber of our being. And 21st September, this is our chance, not just to march, but to clear that we refuse to accept poison futures, that we will not sit quietly while politicians and their profiteers destroy our inheritance, that we demand action, decisive, uncompromising, immediate action. The call is clear. The rivers are dying. The soil is bleeding. The republic itself is at risk. Fellow Ghanaians, let us march. Let us stop Galamsey, and let us demand that this scourge be ended. Good morning, and I hope to see you on 21st September, because I'll be there.